The quality of the flour is often singled out to justify the industry's difficulties in adapting to new clean label or organic bread making methods. As we say, the miller has a broad back to take all the responsibility for the cleavage between current industry practices and clean label regulations. But in reality, the whole wheat sector must consider these difficulties of adaptation to new biological and natural trends. This questioning pushes the industry to understand the roles that each link in this chain must play to meet customer needs without sacrificing product quality. To find the origin of these questions, it is necessary to analyze the current situation of the two main players in this sector, the bakery and the flour mill. The reality of the current practices of industrial non-artisan baking is that it has mechanized the kneading, which is now much more intense. Knowing that kneading and fermentation are two operations that oxidize the dough and participate in the formation of good gluten network, the more aggressive the kneading, the shorter the fermentation must be. For purely economical reasons, the industry has chosen to increase the kneading from 300 to 1200 revolutions per minute, and to decrease the fermentation from 6 to 1 hour. As a result of these changes, the dough no longer has any tolerance to stress, and the industry must compensate by adding improvers to correct the poor performance of this dough. The choice of wheat in a conventional flour mill is based on the quantity of proteins, with a quality adapted mainly to a single bread making method, rapid and intensive kneading, and very short fermentation. The largest volume of flour produced by this actor is a 0.55% ash white flour extracted from the heart of the wheat grain, a region poor in enzymes which are more important in the outer layer. To answer the industrial reality and to compensate for the unsuitable quality of the wheat proteins and the lack of enzymes in the flour, millers are constrained to add improvers or technological aids to guarantee better suited finished products. It is easy to understand the extent of the gap between practices of these two players and the consumer's demand for clean label or organic bread without improvers, which must consist of only 4 ingredients: flour, yeast or sourdough, salt, and water. To reduce this gap, we will try in the following to list the players in this sector and explain the importance of their interactions in successfully offering simple and delicious bread sought after by consumers. The breeder is the forgotten link in this chain, often avoiding giving his reputation wrongly tarnished by GMOs. The involvement of the mill and the bakery is essential to help breeders choose the right varieties, not on the amount of protein, but rather on the basis of the quality of protein and their ability to tolerate different fermentation processes and times. The varieties can be subdivided into 2 categories: prioritize nitrogen to store proteins for better quality, or prioritize nitrogen to make more wheat for better yield. Although the second category is more appreciated by farmers who base the profitability of their business on yield, they should choose the first category because it is better suited to organic farming as well as to sustainable agriculture. Both practices use less input while having the ability to guarantee a harvest with good baking quality despite soils and biological transition, which are often poorer. The flour mill team must believe in diversity and what wheat varieties can bring us by recognizing the weaknesses and strengths of each variety. Nature does not offer a so-called perfect variety. The best way to provide bakers with adequate flour is to use the principle of blending. To have a balanced flour, it is therefore necessary to correct the wheat with other wheats. Wheat blends with complementary qualities avoid the addition of improvers and make it possible to offer flours suitable for bakers' processes. The baker must communicate with his flour miller and be involved in the choice of his flour, which will be made with the right mixture of wheat and which will respond adequately to his bread making process. Throughout the year, the baker should communicate regularly with his miller to know the optimal hydration and kneading of his flour lot. This means that the baker should be prepared to make simple adjustments as needed, and therefore he will have a good reading of his dough. The baker must also adapt the fermentation and the ferments to the quality of the flour he uses. Each year, for climatic reasons, the extensibility, toughness, and elasticity of gluten may vary. It is possible to correct a lack of extensibility by using a Polish, which is very rich in proteases. On the other hand, you can gain strength by using pasty sourdoughs. Consumers must be more indulgent with the exterior appearance of bread and more demanding about the taste and quality of the ingredients that make up the bread. Consumers rely heavily on whether the bread fills the packaging bag or that sandwiches in the rack are the same size. Bread is not like a piece of furniture that has exact dimensions. Bread is a staple food that should be shaped with love and that should grow naturally like fruits and vegetables. Negative comments about the irregular appearance of bread are leading the industry to offer products that are far too uniform by adding improvers at the expense of taste. The rigorous appearance profile generates enormous losses because all breads that do not meet the shape standards are rejected after baking, an unnecessary waste. In conclusion, Clean Label becomes a winning value chain when all involved parties interact by promoting adaptation to new organic and natural trends. This is how the gap between current practices narrows and a synergy grows for the benefit of the environment, health, and consumer satisfaction.